everyone, it's Justine, and today I have a new video tutorial, and I'm going to show you how to ink up something using multiple ink colors using the Misty tool. Now, you don't need the Misty tool to do this technique. It just makes things more accurate just in case you accidentally forget to ink up a part of the stamp. I've done this technique with acrylic blocks and it works just fine, but I do recommend using a bit darker colors that you can definitely tell whether there's ink on your stamp or not if you're doing this without a Misty, because you won't be able to go back in and restamp and align it perfectly, especially when using a clink stamp. I'm going to be using 4 colors today, and these are 4 coordinating colors, meaning they mix well together, they blend well together. I'm using from the So Susie Stamps Ink Bites, Petunia Pink, Highland Heather, Playful Pumpkin, and Wild Watermelon. Now all 4 of these are mini ink cubes, and they are really great color. They're very juicy, and I'm just randomly, you can see, taking the colors and just stamping certain areas of the stamp, trying to get sort of an even but random pattern. So doing a little bit at the top, a little bit at the bottom, a little bit on the sides of each color. And because I have a light on, I'm able to see the shine of the ink on the stamp itself. So I'm able to see if a certain part of the stamp is not inked up or not. So I would recommend kind of holding it up to the light and rocking it back and forth to see the reflection, just in case you've missed a spot. Because when you stamp, you're going to get an amazing technique, but if you're not using the Misty, you can't go back and re-stamp if you missed a certain area of the stamp, if that makes sense. So you can see this created an absolutely gorgeous pattern onto my card, and it's really one of a kind. You won't be able to recreate this in the exact same way again. And I'm going to stamp my sentiment just here off in the right hand side, and it says, "Never go to bed mad, stay up late and plot your revenge." It's one of those sentiments that I really enjoy and is really, really great, especially for someone who's going through a hard time. And I am going to be inking that up using VersaFine black ink, and the black ink is going to make it pop out enough to stand out against the Venetian mask, because it is a very powerful stamp. However, it doesn't overwhelm the stamp, and I think the focus is still on the Venetian mask. I didn't bother inking up the person who said this, just because I thought that wouldn't look very nice. Alright, and it would just make the sentiment too big. It's not that it wasn't nice on the stamp set, it would just make the sentiment too big for the card. I then just had to decide on a card base, and I didn't want a plain white one, but I didn't want to favor a certain color too much, because that would make that color really pop. So I grabbed these already made card bases from Concord and 9th, and I glued this onto here, and they're almost like a watercolor look, so it was very subtle, and it brought out the pinks and the oranges of the card a little bit more, but it really remained a very subtle tone. The last thing I wanted to do was add some Nouveau dots. This is the red berry. Now this doesn't match perfectly with the pink, but it does just a fine job. Nobody would ever notice that it doesn't match completely, but it does match quite well with the Petunia pink. So it does bring out that color. So we have the background of the card base bringing out that Highland Heather, that Wild Watermelon. Now the Petunia pink is getting that accent with the Nouveau drops. So I hope you enjoyed this video tutorial and you learned a little bit about stamping and multicolored stamping. If you're interested in any of the products, all the supplies used are listed below in the video description as well as on my blog. And I would really appreciate it if you are shopping and inspired from this video that you click on the links when shopping. Up at the top you can check out my blog and the supply list. You can check out the moving videos to check out 2 other tutorials that I've created recently, or you can click on the subscribe button to subscribe to my channel. Thanks so much for watching, everyone.